Carhelpout.com. It's the convenience.
Today we are going to talk about how to increase your gas mileage with simple hacks by Carhelpout, local independent certified mobile mechanic auto car repair service and pre-purchase vehicle inspection who will come or travel to you at any location. Do you feel like every trip to the gas station is getting more painful? You are not alone. It's this universal feeling, this collective wince we all share as we watch those numbers on the pump just climb and climb and climb. It's a genuine gut punch, isn't it? Whether you're a rideshare driver trying to make a living, a fleet manager staring down a spreadsheet of fuel costs, a busy parent shuttling kids all over town, or just someone like me watching those fuel receipts add up. Today's video is for you. It's packed with quick, reliable, and testable hacks to help you drive farther on every single tank of fuel. And here's the best part, the part that really gets my gears turning. These tips aren't just old wives' tales or things your grandpa used to say. Oh no. These are licensed by science, backed by physics, and trusted by the local experts, the mechanics and engineers who live and breathe this stuff every single day. We're talking about tangible, measurable improvements. This isn't about magic. It's about understanding the machine you're operating and making small, deliberate changes that have a massive compounding effect over time. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty, the how, and the why. All right, let's get to it. If you're struggling to come up with cash for an emergency auto repair, you're not alone. That's why auto car repair loans offer a convenient way to gain quick access to the money you need when an emergency pops up. With loans up to $2,500 to $5,000. Visit carhelpout.com/repair loan to get started today. Don't forget, if you ever need to sell your house fast and as-is condition anywhere in the U.S., either to stop foreclosure, avoid county tax auction, or unwanted house, go to boracina.com/carhelpout and get a relief under house burden. Don't forget, if your local small business or good service website needs more traffic exposure from Google, Yahoo, Bing, and other search engines, go to carhelpout.com/SEO. They can help you when it comes to local SEO and online digital marketing service consulting. Real, tested, same-day solutions that actually work. These are for all of us, the daily commuters, the weekend road trippers, the dedicated members of car clubs who cherish their machines, and every vehicle operator in between. We're going to break down the science in a way that makes sense so you can walk away from this video and immediately start saving money. I'm talking about putting these principles into practice the very next time you get behind the wheel. The goal here is empowerment through knowledge, giving you control over one of your biggest expenses. You will be shocked at how easy some of these are. Seriously, some of these hacks require almost zero effort, just a tiny shift in your habits. Others might involve a little bit of weekend tinkering in the garage, which, let's be honest, is my favorite kind of homework. We're going to turn your car from just a mode of transportation into a finely tuned machine of efficiency. So grab a notepad, get comfortable, and let's dive under the hood and bust some fuel-wasting myths wide open. Prepare to change the way you think about driving. Forever. All right, let's start with the big one, the one that's all about you, the driver. Aggressive driving. We all know it when we see it. Jackrabbit starts from a stoplight, slamming on the brakes at the last second, weaving through traffic like you're in a high-speed chase. It might feel like you're getting there faster, but what you're really doing is waging a war against physics. And trust me, physics always wins. Every time you stomp on that gas pedal, you're demanding your engine convert chemical energy from gasoline into kinetic energy at a ridiculously inefficient rate. It's the equivalent of trying to fill a thimble with a fire hose. Think about it this way. Your engine is designed to operate most efficiently within a certain smooth range of performance. When you floor it, you're forcing it to dump a massive amount of fuel into the cylinders to generate that sudden burst of power. A huge portion of that energy is wasted as excess heat and stress on your engine components. It's a brute force approach. Likewise, when you slam on the brakes, all that kinetic energy you just spent a fortune in fuel to build up is instantly converted into heat by your brake pads and rotors. You're literally turning your gasoline money into useless, dissipated heat. Let's quantify this. Studies from the Department of Energy have shown that aggressive driving habits can lower your gas mileage by as much as 1/3 on the highway and 5 to 10% in the city. Let that sink in. That's like throwing 1/3 of your money out the window on every single highway trip. It's the difference between getting 30 miles per gallon and getting a measly 20. Over the course of a year, that adds up to hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that you've essentially burned for no good reason. You haven't gotten to your destination significantly faster, but your wallet is significantly lighter. The key takeaway here is that your vehicle craves consistency. It wants smooth, predictable inputs. Sudden changes in speed are its mortal enemy when it comes to fuel economy. Every rapid acceleration and hard deceleration is a shock to the system, a moment of extreme inefficiency. It puts unnecessary wear and tear on your engine, your transmission, your brakes, and your tires. So, the first and most impactful hack has nothing to do with a wrench or an oil can. It's about reprogramming the connection between your brain and your right foot. It's about becoming a smarter, smoother, and ultimately a more efficient driver. So, how do we combat this? It starts with a simple change in mindset. Pretend there's an open cup of coffee on your dashboard or a raw egg balanced on your gas pedal. Your goal is to drive in such a way that you don't spill a single drop or crack that shell. This means gentle acceleration away from a stop. You don't need to win the imaginary drag race with the car next to you. Squeeze the pedal, don't stomp it. Give the engine time to build up speed gracefully. This simple act alone can dramatically reduce the amount of fuel you use just getting up to cruising speed. The other side of this coin is anticipation. Look far ahead down the road. See that red light a quarter mile away? Instead of keeping your foot on the gas until the last moment and then braking hard, lift your foot off the accelerator now. Let the car's natural momentum do the work. This is called coasting, and it is your new best friend. Your engine uses a minimal amount of fuel, sometimes even zero, in modern fuel-injected cars when you're coasting. You're using the kinetic energy you already paid for, instead of just converting it into waste heat with your brakes. This reduces brake wear and saves a ton of fuel. Now let's talk about the ultimate tool for smooth driving on the open road cruise control. I love this thing. It is quite simply a robot that is better at being a smooth driver than any human can ever be. It monitors your vehicle's speed with incredible precision and makes tiny, constant adjustments to the throttle to maintain that speed. It avoids the unconscious, wasteful variations in speed that we humans naturally do. When you're on the highway or any long, relatively flat stretch of road, setting the cruise control is one of the single best things you can do for your MPG. It takes the guesswork out of it. But remember, cruise control is a tool. And like any tool, it needs to be used in the right situation. It's fantastic for open highways, but terrible for hilly, winding terrain or heavy traffic. In those situations, your own brain and ability to anticipate the road ahead are superior. Driving up a steep hill, cruise control will often aggressively downshift and floor it to maintain speed, which is the opposite of efficient. In those cases, it's better to manually allow your speed to drop a little on the way up and regain it on the way down. The key is using the right technique for the right conditions. Let's move from the driver to the car itself, and we're starting where the rubber meets the road, literally your tires. This is one of the most overlooked yet critically important aspects of fuel efficiency. Think about what your tires are actually doing. They are supporting the entire weight of your vehicle, thousands of pounds, on 4 small patches of air. That air pressure is fundamental to their shape and performance. When a tire is underinflated, it sags. The sidewalls flex more than they were designed to, and the contact patch, the part of the tire touching the road, gets larger and misshapen. This deformation creates a huge problem called rolling resistance. Imagine trying to push a car with 4 flat tires. It's incredibly difficult, right? That's because you're fighting the energy being wasted by the constant flexing and deforming of the rubber. The same principle applies on a smaller scale, even if your tires are just a few pounds per square inch or PSI low. Your engine has to work significantly harder just to overcome that extra drag, that extra friction. It's like trying to run on a sandy beach instead of a paved track. You're burning more fuel just to maintain the same speed. The numbers on this are staggering. The Department of Transportation estimates that for every 1 PSI that all 4 of your tires are underinflated, you lose about 0.2 to 0.3% of your fuel economy. Now that might not sound like much, but let's do the math. It's not uncommon for tires to be 10 PSI low. Do the multiplication, and you're suddenly looking at a 2 to 3% reduction in your gas mileage. If you're supposed to get 30 mpg, you're now getting closer to 29. Over a year of driving, that's several tanks of gas just wasted because of low air pressure. And it's not just about fuel. Underinflation is a safety hazard, and it kills your tires. The extra flexing generates a tremendous amount of heat, which is the #1 enemy of rubber. This heat can lead to premature wear on the edges of your tread, and in the worst-case scenario, it can cause a catastrophic blowout, especially on a hot day at highway speeds. So checking your tire pressure isn't just a fuel-saving hack. It's a critical safety check and a way to extend the life of your expensive tires. It's a win-win-win situation that costs you nothing but a few minutes of your time. So what's the solution? A simple, repeatable, monthly ritual. You need to check your tire pressure at least once a month, and always when the tires are cold. That doesn't mean you have to check them in the middle of winter. It just means the car hasn't been driven for at least 3 hours. Driving heats up the air inside your tires, causing it to expand and giving you an artificially high pressure reading. For the most accurate measurement, check them first thing in the morning before you go anywhere. This simple discipline is the foundation of good tire maintenance. Now, what pressure should you be aiming for? This is a point of major confusion for a lot of people. Do not, I repeat, do not use the pressure number molded into the side of the tire itself. That number is the maximum cold inflation pressure the tire can safely hold, not the recommended operating pressure for your specific vehicle. The correct pressure is determined by the vehicle manufacturer. You can find it on a sticker or placard located on the driver's side door jamb, inside the glove box door, or on the fuel filler door. That is the number you should always use. To do the check, you'll need a good quality tire pressure gauge. I'm not a fan of the cheap plastic pencil-style gauges. They're notoriously inaccurate. Invest a few bucks in a good digital gauge or a dial-type gauge. They are far more reliable and easier to read. Simply unscrew the valve cap, press the gauge firmly onto the valve stem until the hissing sound stops, and read the pressure. Check all 4 tires and don't forget the spare if your car has one. A flat spare is a useless spare. If the pressure is low, add air until you reach the recommended PSI. While you can do this at home with a personal compressor, many people rely on the air pumps at gas stations. A word of caution: those pumps can be wildly inaccurate and poorly maintained. My advice? Find a reputable local tire shop or mechanic. They often have professionally calibrated equipment and will frequently check and adjust your tire pressure for free or for a very small fee. It's a great way to build a relationship with a good shop, and you can be confident that the pressure is set perfectly. Make it part of your routine, like checking your oil. It's a 5-minute task that pays you back every single mile you drive. All right, let's talk about something fundamental, something straight out of a high school physics class that has a real tangible impact on your wallet every single time you hit the road. I'm talking about mass, inertia. The simple, undeniable fact that it takes energy to move stuff. Your car is already a hefty beast, a marvel of engineering designed to overcome its own weight. But every single extra pound you add to it is another pound your engine has to fight against. Think of it like this. You wouldn't go for a 10-mile run wearing a backpack full of bricks, would you? The extra effort would wear you out, and it's the exact same principle for your vehicle's engine. So, where does this extra weight come from? It's the little things that add up. The insidious creep of clutter that turns your car into a mobile storage unit. Those golf clubs you swear you'll use after work but haven't touched in 6 months. The bag of rock salt in the trunk from last winter. The collection of tools, old textbooks, sports equipment, and that case of bottled water you bought for a road trip 2 years ago. For every extra 100 pounds you're carrying, you can expect your fuel economy to drop by about 1 to 2%. If your car normally gets 30 miles per gallon, that's a loss of about 1/3 to 2/3 of a mile for every gallon burned. Over the course of a year, driving 12,000 miles, that unnecessary weight is forcing you to buy an extra 4 to 8 gallons of gas. The mission, should you choose to accept it, is to perform a vehicle audit. Open every door, check under the seats, and most importantly, excavate the trunk. Ask yourself, for every single item, do I need this in my car right now? This isn't just cleaning. You're conducting a scientific experiment in personal economics. Okay, so we've tackled the inside of your car, but what about the outside? I'm looking at you, roof racks and cargo boxes. When you're not using them, they become one of the biggest fuel economy bandits. They are, in essence, giant air brakes. They disrupt the carefully designed, wind tunnel-tested aerodynamics of your car, creating a massive amount of drag. Your car was sculpted by engineers to slice through the air as cleanly as possible. When you slap a roof rack on top, you're fundamentally altering that design. The crossbars create turbulence, vortices of chaotic air. A rooftop cargo box is even worse. An empty roof rack alone can slash your fuel efficiency by anywhere from 5 to 15%. Add a cargo box, even an aerodynamic one, and you could be looking at a devastating 10 to 25% reduction in your MPG. If you're driving on the highway and your car should be getting 35 miles per gallon, that roof box could be dragging it down to just 26 MPG. Treat your roof rack and cargo box like specialized tools. When you need them, put them on. The moment you're done with that ski trip or that camping adventure, take them off. Those few minutes of work will save you a serious amount of money over the long haul. Your car's engine is a symphony of precisely engineered moving parts. It's a complex, beautiful machine that converts controlled chemical explosions into the rotational force that moves you down the road. But like any high-performance machine, from a Swiss watch to a space shuttle, it requires regular, meticulous care to operate at its peak. Ignoring routine maintenance is like expecting a world-class athlete to win a gold medal without ever training, eating right, or seeing a doctor. Over time, parts wear out, fluids degrade, and tiny inefficiencies begin to stack up, creating a cascade of problems that absolutely demolish your fuel economy. Think about the heart of the system, your spark plugs. These little guys are responsible for igniting the air-fuel mixture in the cylinders thousands of times per minute. When they're fresh, they create a strong, consistent spark, leading to complete and efficient combustion of fuel. But as they age, the electrodes wear down, the gap widens, and the spark becomes weak and unreliable. This leads to misfires and incomplete burns, which means unburnt fuel is being sent right out your exhaust pipe. You're paying for gasoline that isn't even being used to power your car. That's a direct hit to your wallet, all because a relatively inexpensive part wasn't replaced on schedule. It's not just the spark plugs either. It's the entire ecosystem of your engine. The oxygen sensors, for example, are critical for telling your car's computer how to adjust the air-fuel ratio. When they get old and sluggish, they send bad data, and the computer might start injecting too much fuel. A clogged fuel filter makes the fuel pump work harder, consuming more energy. Old, dirty engine oil loses its lubricating properties, increasing friction and forcing the engine to work harder. Each of these individual issues chips away at your MPG, and together they can cause a significant drop in efficiency. This is why following your manufacturer's recommended maintenance schedule is not a suggestion. It's a critical instruction manual. It's all laid out for you in the owner's manual. That book that's probably still in the glove compartment, it tells you exactly when to change the oil, when to replace the filters, and when to inspect the plugs. Adhering to this schedule is the single best thing you can do to ensure every component is working in harmony. The myth that you can save money by skipping maintenance is one of the most expensive myths out there. Busted. Beyond the major engine components, there are other systems that play a massive role in your fuel consumption. Let's talk about the unsung hero, the cooling system. Its job is to keep your engine operating within a very specific temperature range. An engine that's running too cold is an efficiency nightmare. Your car's computer is programmed to inject more gas when the engine is cold to help it warm up faster and run smoothly. If you have a faulty thermostat that's stuck open, your engine may never reach its optimal operating temperature. This means your car's computer might think it's always in a warm-up phase, constantly dumping extra unnecessary fuel into the cylinders. You could be driving for an hour on the highway, and your car is still behaving as if you just started it on a cold morning. You'll see the evidence right there on your temperature gauge, which might never reach the halfway mark where it normally sits. This is a subtle failure that can devastate your fuel economy over time. Regular coolant flushes and system checks can catch a failing thermostat before it costs you a fortune. Another critical but often overlooked area is your wheel alignment. Every time you hit a significant pothole or bump a curb, you can knock your car's suspension geometry out of whack. When the wheels are no longer pointing perfectly straight ahead, they start to fight each other. One wheel might be trying to go straight while another is trying to veer slightly to the left or right. To keep the car moving in a straight line, your tires are essentially being dragged sideways across the pavement. This creates a constant scrubbing action, a source of friction that forces your engine to work harder. Not only that, but it also causes premature tire wear, costing you even more money in the long run. An alignment check is relatively inexpensive preventative maintenance that ensures all four wheels are working together as a team. It's a perfect example of how maintaining one system has a direct impact on the efficiency of another. It's all connected, and ignoring one part hurts the whole. All right, let's get down to one of the biggest, most controllable factors in your fuel economy, your speed. I know, it feels good to put the pedal down on an open highway. There's a sense of freedom, of making good time. But I'm here to tell you, as an engineer and a myth buster, that every mile per hour you drive over a certain point comes with a steep, and I mean steep, penalty at the gas pump. There's a sweet spot for fuel efficiency in most cars, and it's almost always lower than you think. Generally, for gasoline-powered cars, this efficiency peak happens somewhere between 45 and 55 miles per hour. Above that speed, you start fighting a losing battle against the laws of physics. The primary enemy here is aerodynamic drag, that same force we talked about with roof racks. But now, it's acting on the entire car. And here's the crucial part. Aerodynamic drag doesn't increase in a nice, straight line. It increases with the square of your velocity. That means if you double your speed, you don't double the drag, you quadruple it. This exponential relationship is the real killer of your highway MPG. The effort and therefore the fuel required to push that wall of air out of the way gets dramatically, almost punishingly larger with every tick of the speedometer. Let's put some hard numbers on this because that's where the science really hits home. For every 5 miles per hour you drive over 50 miles, it's roughly equivalent to paying an extra 20 to 30 cents per gallon for gasoline. Think about that. Driving at 60 miles instead of 50 is like a 20-cent gas tax you're imposing on yourself. Pushing it to 70 miles? You might as well be paying 40 or 50 cents more per gallon. And if you're one of those drivers who regularly cruises at 80 miles, you're willingly sacrificing a massive chunk of your fuel efficiency, potentially reducing it by 25% or more compared to driving at a more moderate speed. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a rolling roadblock in the slow lane. The goal is to be mindful and find a balance between making good time and not setting your money on fire. The key takeaway is that the difference between arriving a few minutes earlier and saving a significant amount of fuel is a conscious choice you make with your right foot. The myth is that faster is always better. When it comes to your wallet and the environment, that myth is thoroughly busted. Slowing down just a little bit on the highway is one of the most powerful and immediate ways to boost your MPG. So we've established that maintaining a moderate, steady speed is the key to highway fuel efficiency. But let's be honest, holding your foot in the exact same position for hours on end is difficult. Our inputs are never perfectly smooth. We subconsciously speed up a little, then slow down a little, constantly making tiny, almost imperceptible adjustments. Every time you press the accelerator, even slightly, you're telling the engine to use a bit more fuel. These small fluctuations, when added up over the course of a long trip, can have a surprisingly large impact on your overall consumption. It's death by 1,000 tiny accelerations. This is where one of the most brilliant yet often underutilized pieces of automotive technology comes into play: cruise control. Think of cruise control as a hyper-focused, incredibly precise robot whose only job is to maintain a perfectly constant speed. It can make far more minute and efficient adjustments to the throttle than a human foot ever could. It doesn't get distracted, it doesn't get tired, and it doesn't have a lead foot. By smoothing out those peaks and valleys of acceleration and deceleration, cruise control keeps the engine operating in a much more stable and efficient state. It's the ultimate tool for smooth driving on the open road. The ideal scenario for using cruise control is on relatively flat, open highways where you're not constantly dealing with heavy traffic. In these conditions, setting the cruise to a moderate speed, say 60 or 65 miles per hour instead of 75, is the 1-2 punch for maximizing your fuel economy. You're combining the efficiency of a lower top speed with the smoothness of automated throttle control. This simple act can improve your fuel economy by a very respectable 7 to 14% during highway driving. It's a free feature that comes with most modern cars, and it actively saves you money every time you use it correctly. However, it's crucial to know when not to use it. Cruise control is not smart on hilly or mountainous terrain. A human driver can see a hill coming and ease off the gas on the way down, using momentum. A standard cruise control system will brake on the downhill to maintain its set speed, wasting that free energy, and then apply aggressive throttle on the uphill to get back to speed, wasting fuel. It's also not safe to use in heavy traffic, winding roads, or in wet or icy conditions. But for the vast majority of highway miles that people drive, it's an indispensable tool for the efficiency-minded driver. Use it wisely, and the savings will follow. All right, let's talk about something near and dear to my heart, planning. In the workshop, a good plan is the difference between a successful build and a pile of expensive scrap. It's the blueprint, the roadmap, the very soul of the project. Well, the same principle applies to your daily drive. This isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's about getting there in the most efficient way possible. Think of yourself not just as a driver, but as a mission commander. Your objective? To conserve fuel by outsmarting the obstacles. Every red light, every traffic jam, every unnecessary detour is a tiny battle you're losing against your gas tank. It's a war of attrition, my friends, and your fuel gauge is the scoreboard. So, how do you become a master strategist of the asphalt jungle? You leverage the incredible technology you're probably holding in your hand right now. Modern navigation apps are absolute marvels of data processing. They're not just showing you a map, they are constantly analyzing real-time traffic data, road closures, and even historical patterns to calculate the path of least resistance. Before you even turn the key, take 30 seconds to plug in your destination. Look at the options it gives you. Is the shortest route really the fastest? Or is it a gauntlet of stop signs and school zones? Sometimes, a slightly longer route that keeps you moving at a steady pace is vastly superior for your fuel economy. Think about it in terms of energy states. Every time you stop, your car's momentum drops to zero. To get it moving again, the engine has to overcome inertia, and that takes a significant gulp of fuel. It's a massive energy expenditure. But if you can keep the car rolling, even at a slow speed, you're maintaining a state of kinetic energy. The engine's job becomes much easier. It just has to overcome rolling resistance and air drag. By planning your route to avoid stop-and-go traffic, you're essentially minimizing those costly transitions from a dead stop to motion. You're smoothing out the energy curve of your journey, and your wallet will absolutely thank you for it. This planning mindset extends beyond just avoiding traffic. It's about trip chaining. That's a fancy term for a simple, brilliant idea, batching your errands. Instead of making 3 separate trips to the grocery store, the post office, and the hardware store on different days, plan to do them all in one logical, looping journey. A cold engine is a thirsty engine. It runs rich, using more fuel until it reaches its optimal operating temperature. By combining your trips, you get the engine warm once and keep it warm, making each leg of the journey more efficient than if you had started from a cold state each time. It's a classic case of working smarter, not harder. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of one of fuel's greatest nemeses, idling. It's the silent killer of your miles per gallon. When your car is idling, you are getting exactly 0 miles per gallon. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Your engine is running, consuming precious fuel, generating emissions, and for what? To go absolutely nowhere. It's the vehicular equivalent of burning a pile of money just to watch the pretty flames. Whether you're waiting in a drive-thru, sitting at a long freight train crossing, or waiting to pick someone up, that idling time adds up faster than you can say, well, there's your problem. The data is clear. Idling for more than 10 seconds uses more fuel than restarting your engine. Now, I can feel the skepticism through the screen. But Adam, you're saying, doesn't restarting the car put a lot of wear on the starter and the battery? That's a classic piece of automotive lore, a myth that dates back to the days of carbureted engines and less robust electrical systems. For any reasonably modern car, this is simply not the case. Starters and batteries today are built to handle it. Think about all the new cars with automatic start-stop technology. The engineers have done the math, run the tests, and concluded that the fuel savings from shutting down the engine far outweigh any negligible, and I mean negligible, additional wear on the components. So I reject that old reality and substitute my own. If you're going to be stopped for more than 10 seconds, turn it off. This is where your situational awareness as a driver scientist comes into play. You need to become an observer of your environment. See a notoriously long red light up ahead? Instead of racing towards it just to slam on the brakes, ease off the gas early. Try to time the light, coasting gently so that it turns green just as you arrive. This is a game you can play with yourself, and winning feels fantastic. See a line at the bank's drive-up ATM, park the car, and walk inside. It's not just better for your fuel economy, it's probably faster and gives you a chance to stretch your legs. Every decision is a data point in your experiment to save fuel. And let's not forget the environmental impact. Every minute you spend idling releases unnecessary carbon dioxide and other pollutants into the atmosphere. So, reducing your idle time isn't just a selfish act to save a few bucks. It's a small but meaningful contribution to cleaner air. It's about being a more responsible citizen of the planet. By planning your routes to minimize stops and being mindful about shutting off your engine, you're conducting a multi-layered experiment. The hypothesis is that you can save money and reduce your carbon footprint. And I can tell you right now, the results will be conclusive. Myth confirmed. The age-old question, the source of countless family arguments on road trips, is it better to roll down the windows or turn on the air conditioning? It feels like one of those classic automotive myths shrouded in hearsay, but like any good myth, we can bust it with a little bit of science. And the science here is a fascinating battle between two distinct forces, mechanical load and aerodynamic drag. Both of these forces are thieves, trying to steal power from your engine. Let's first break down the air conditioner. Your car's AC isn't magic. It's a complex system with a compressor at its heart. This compressor needs power to run, and it gets that power directly from the engine. When you turn on the AC, you're essentially asking your engine to do extra work. The amount of fuel this uses is relatively constant, regardless of how fast you're driving. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin, rolling down the windows. But here, we run into a different kind of thief aerodynamic drag. When you roll down the windows, you completely wreck that carefully sculpted aerodynamic profile. You're essentially turning your car into a parachute. Here's the crucial part. Unlike the AC's fixed load, aerodynamic drag is not constant. It increases exponentially with speed at low speeds. Like when you're driving around town, the drag from open windows is pretty minimal. But as you get onto the highway and your speed climbs to 50, 60, or 70 miles per hour, that drag force grows incredibly strong, becoming a much bigger power suck than the AC. This is the crossover point. There's a point where the drag from the windows robs more fuel than the AC's mechanical load. So where is this magical crossover point? The tipping point is usually somewhere between 45 and 55 miles per hour. Let's call it 50 miles per hour for a good, solid rule of thumb. Below 50 miles per hour, in city driving, stop-and-go traffic rolling down the windows is generally the more fuel-efficient choice. But the moment you merge onto the highway and your speed climbs above that 50-mile-per-hour threshold, the script flips entirely. It is absolutely more fuel efficient to roll up those windows, seal the cabin, and turn on the air conditioning. Think of it as choosing the right tool for the job. In the same way, you use windows for low-speed cooling and air conditioning for high-speed cooling. And don't just crank the AC to full blast right away. Start it on a low setting. So, let's put this myth to bed once and for all. Low speed, city driving. Roll those windows down and enjoy the breeze. High speed, highway cruising. Roll them up and fire up the AC. Okay, let's move from the outside of the car to deep within its heart. We're going into the engine block to talk about its lifeblood, the motor oil. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Oil is oil, right? As long as there's something slippery in there, it's fine. I am here to tell you, with every fiber of my being, that this could not be more wrong. That kind of thinking is the fast track to a sad, inefficient, and potentially very expensive engine failure. Using the right oil is one of the most critical, yet often overlooked aspects of both vehicle maintenance and fuel economy. It is not a place to cut corners or to guess. Think about what oil actually does. It's not just a lubricant. It's a miracle fluid. It has to reduce friction between thousands of moving parts, some of which are separated by clearances thinner than a human hair. It has to clean the engine, carrying away tiny particles of metal and carbon deposits to the oil filter. It has to act as a coolant, absorbing heat from the pistons and bearings and carrying it away to the oil pan. It has to protect against corrosion. It has to do all of this under incredible temperature extremes, from a cold winter start to the scorching heat of a hard-working engine. It's a monumental task. Now let's talk about viscosity. That's the big word here. Viscosity is, simply put, a fluid's resistance to flow. Honey has a high viscosity. Water has a low viscosity. Motor oil comes in different weights or grades like 5W30 or 10W40, which describe its viscosity at different temperatures. The W stands for winter, and the number before it indicates how easily the oil flows when it's cold. The second number indicates its viscosity when the engine is at full operating temperature. The engineers who designed your engine spent thousands of hours testing to find the absolute perfect viscosity for that specific design. It's a delicate balance. If the oil is too thick, has too high a viscosity, the engine has to work harder just to pump it around. This creates internal drag, a resistance that robs power, and, you guessed it, wastes fuel. It's like trying to run through waist-deep mud. Conversely, if the oil is too thin, has too low a viscosity, it might not provide a strong enough protective film between moving parts, leading to increased wear and tear. Using the manufacturer's recommended oil grade ensures you have the perfect balance, thick enough to protect, but thin enough to flow easily, minimizing that internal drag and maximizing your fuel economy. So how do you know which oil is the right one for your chariot? Well, the good news is the engineers didn't hide this information in some secret code. They put it right where you can find it. Pop the hood of your car. Look for the oil filler cap. It usually has a little oil can symbol on it. Right there, embossed in the plastic, you will almost certainly find the recommended oil grade. It'll say something like SAE 5 W20 or Use 0 W30. This isn't a suggestion. It's a command from the people who built the machine. They are giving you the single most important piece of data for your engine's health and efficiency. Heed their words. If for some reason it's not on the cap, don't despair. Your next stop is the owner's manual. I know, for some people, that's the book that lives in the glove compartment and is never opened. But I'm telling you, it is a treasure trove of vital information. Find the section on fluid specifications. It will not only tell you the correct viscosity, but also the required performance standard, like an API rating, which ensures the oil has the right blend of detergents and additives for your engine. Using an oil that meets both the viscosity and performance spec is the only way to be sure you're giving your engine exactly what it needs. Let's bust another quick myth while we're here. The idea that you should use a thicker oil in an older high-mileage car. While some specialty high-mileage oils have additives that can help condition seals and reduce leaks, you should still stick to the manufacturer's recommended viscosity grade. Arbitrarily switching to a thicker oil, like going from a 5W20 to a 10W40, will almost certainly decrease your fuel economy because of that increased pumping loss we talked about. The engine has to work harder, full stop. If you're concerned about your older engine, use a high-mileage formula, but one that is the correct weight for your car. Ultimately, this is about precision. Modern engines are not the simple iron lumps they were decades ago. They are highly sophisticated computer-controlled machines built with incredibly tight tolerances. They are designed to work with an equally sophisticated fluid. By taking the simple step of reading your oil cap or owner's manual and using the exact oil specified, you are ensuring every component operates with the least possible friction. This translates directly into less wasted energy, which means more of the fuel you buy is being used to actually turn the wheels. It's a simple, powerful hack that pays dividends in both fuel savings and engine longevity. All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the guts of the machine. We've talked about a lot of external factors that affect your fuel economy, but now we're diving under the hood to one of the most fundamental yet often overlooked components of your engine's health: the air filter. I want you to think of your engine as a living, breathing organism. It needs to inhale, just like you or I. And what does it inhale? Air. A massive, continuous volume of air. This air is the critical ingredient that mixes with fuel to create the controlled explosions that power your vehicle down the road. It's the very breath of combustion. But the air out there in the world? It's not exactly pristine. It's filled with all sorts of things you don't want getting inside your engine's delicate internal workings. We're talking dust, pollen, bugs, road grime, tiny bits of debris, a whole smorgasbord of abrasive contaminants. This is where the air filter comes in. It's the unsung hero, the gatekeeper, the bouncer at the club door of your engine's intake manifold. Its one and only job is to stand guard and trap all that nasty stuff, ensuring that only clean, pure air makes it through to the combustion chamber. It's a simple, brilliant piece of engineering. Now, what happens when that faithful gatekeeper gets overwhelmed? Imagine a vacuum cleaner bag that's completely full. It still tries to suck, but its efficiency plummets, right? The motor strains, it overheats, and it just doesn't clean well. Your engine's air filter works on the exact same principle. Over thousands of miles, it relentlessly traps dirt and debris, and eventually it becomes clogged. A clogged filter is like trying to breathe through a thick, dusty blanket. The engine has to work significantly harder to pull in the same amount of air it needs for optimal combustion. It's literally suffocating. This struggle, this extra effort, has a direct and measurable impact on your vehicle's performance and, you guessed it, your fuel economy. When the engine is starved for air, the air-fuel mixture becomes rich, meaning there's too much fuel and not enough oxygen. This incomplete combustion not only wastes gasoline, but can also lead to a noticeable drop in horsepower. You might feel your car is more sluggish, less responsive, and all the while, it's secretly guzzling more gas to compensate for the lack of air. It's a classic case of a small, inexpensive part causing a big, expensive problem at the pump. So the myth we're busting today is that your air filter is a set-it-and-forget-it component. That's absolutely false. The reality is, it's a consumable part that requires regular inspection and replacement. The good news? This is one of the easiest and most satisfying pieces of DIY maintenance you can perform on your car. You don't need a degree in mechanical engineering or a garage full of specialized tools. In most vehicles, accessing the air filter is a simple matter of locating a black plastic box, the air box, under the hood and popping a few clips or removing a few screws. It's a 5-minute job, tops. I absolutely love this kind of hands-on work. There's a real connection you build with your machine when you get in there and do the work yourself. When you open that airbox and pull out the old filter, you get immediate, tangible evidence of the job it's been doing. Seeing how dark and clogged it is compared to the pristine new one you're about to install is incredibly gratifying. It's a visual representation of preventative maintenance in action. You're not just replacing a part, you're actively improving the health and breathing capacity of your engine with your own 2 hands. The benefits of this simple swap are almost immediate. With a clean filter in place, your engine can once again breathe freely. The airflow restriction is gone, allowing the engine to pull in the optimal amount of oxygen with minimal effort. This restores the proper air-fuel ratio, which leads to more complete and efficient combustion. What does that mean for you, the driver? You'll likely notice a restoration of lost power. Your car will feel more responsive and peppier when you hit the accelerator. It's like taking that dusty blanket away from your face and taking a deep, clean breath. And of course, this brings us back to our primary mission: saving fuel. By allowing the engine to operate at peak efficiency, a clean air filter can improve your gas mileage. While the exact percentage varies by vehicle and how clogged the old filter was, the science is undeniable. A happy, breathing engine is an efficient engine. Consulting your owner's manual will give you the recommended replacement interval, usually every 12,000 to 15,000 miles. But I say, why not check it yourself every other oil change? It costs you nothing to look, and it could save you a bundle at the pump. That's a build I can definitely get behind. All right, let's talk about the circulatory system of your car, the fuel system. It's a network of pipes, filters, and injectors that deliver the lifeblood, the gasoline, to your engine's heart. Over time, this system can get, well, gunked up. I'm talking about carbon deposits, varnish, and all sorts of other nasty buildup that accumulates from the impurities in gasoline and the byproducts of combustion. Think of it like cholesterol in your arteries. It starts small, but eventually it constricts the flow, making the whole system work harder for less reward. This isn't just a myth. It's a slow, creeping reality for almost every internal combustion engine on the road. This buildup doesn't just happen overnight. It's a gradual process, thousands of miles in the making. The real villain here is incomplete combustion. Tiny, unburnt fuel particles and other contaminants bake onto critical components like your fuel injectors, intake valves, and combustion chambers. These deposits create a rough, uneven surface that disrupts the fine, misty spray of fuel your engine is designed for. Instead of an efficient, atomized cloud, you get a lumpy, inconsistent dribble. That means the fuel doesn't burn as cleanly or as completely, and you're just throwing potential energy and therefore money right out the tailpipe. So how does this microscopic gunk translate to a macroscopic pain at the pump? It's all about precision. Your engine's computer, the ECU, is meticulously calibrated to expect a certain amount of fuel delivered with each injector pulse. When those injectors are clogged, they can't deliver that precise amount. The ECU might try to compensate by holding the injectors open longer, which just wastes more fuel. It's a vicious cycle. The engine runs less efficiently, which creates more deposits, which makes it run even less efficiently. You'll notice this as a gradual drop in your MPG, maybe a rougher idle or a slight hesitation when you hit the gas. The solution isn't to just ignore it and hope it goes away. It won't. The solution is a good, thorough cleaning. We're not talking about some magic potion you pour in the tank once and forget about. We're talking about a proper, methodical process to dissolve and flush out those performance-robbing deposits. Think of it as a deep clean for your car's insides. By restoring the fuel system to its original clean state, you're allowing the engine to breathe and burn fuel the way its designers intended. That means restoring lost power, smoothing out the engine's operation, and, most importantly for our purposes, clawing back that precious fuel economy. So how do we tackle this internal grime? The simplest and most common method is using a high-quality fuel system cleaner additive. Now, I have to be clear, not all bottles on the auto parts store shelf are created equal. You want to look for products with polyetheramine, or PEA. This is a powerful, high-temperature detergent that's scientifically proven to be effective at dissolving those tough, baked-on carbon deposits without harming your engine's sensitive components. You simply add it to a full tank of gas, and as you drive, it goes to work, cleaning the entire system from the tank all the way to the combustion chamber. This is a great preventative maintenance step. Using a good P-based cleaner every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, or with every oil change, can keep those deposits from ever getting a serious foothold. It's like brushing your teeth to prevent cavities. However, if your car has higher mileage and has never had a cleaning, it might need something a little more potent. A single bottle might not be enough to undo tens of thousands of miles of neglect. In those cases, you're looking at a more professional, concentrated cleaning service that can really blast away the heavy-duty buildup and restore flow. For those more severe cases, a professional service is the gold standard. A technician won't just pour something in your tank. They'll use a pressurized canister to run a concentrated cleaning solution directly through the fuel rail and injectors while the engine is running. This bypasses the gas tank entirely and delivers the cleaning power exactly where it's needed most. It's a more intense, more immediate treatment that can produce dramatic results in engines that have become sluggish and inefficient over time. It's one of the best ways to restore that crisp throttle response and lost MPG. Ultimately, keeping your fuel system clean is an investment in your engine's long-term health and your wallet's short-term happiness. Whether you choose the DIY additive route for regular upkeep or opt for a professional deep clean for a serious restoration, you're directly addressing one of the fundamental causes of poor fuel economy. You're ensuring that every last drop of gasoline is atomized correctly, burned completely, and converted into forward motion. It's a simple concept. A clean engine is an efficient engine, and an efficient engine saves you a whole lot of money at the pump. It's not magic. It's just good science and good maintenance. Let's get down to where the rubber literally meets the road. Your tires. They are one of the single most critical components on your vehicle, not just for safety and handling, but for fuel economy. And the secret ingredient here is a concept called rolling resistance. Now, what is that? In simple terms, it's the energy your vehicle has to expend just to keep the tires rolling down the road. This energy is lost primarily as heat, generated by the constant flexing and deforming of the tire's rubber and structure as it makes contact with the pavement. It's an unavoidable consequence of physics. Think of it this way. As your tire rotates, the part touching the ground flattens out. As it lifts off the ground, it has to spring back into its round shape. This constant cycle of squishing and unsquishing, happening hundreds of times per second at highway speeds, creates friction within the tire's own materials. That internal friction generates heat and consumes energy that has to come from your engine. The more a tire resists this rolling motion, the more fuel your engine has to burn just to overcome it. It's a hidden tax on every single mile you drive, silently chipping away at your MPG. Now, here's where the engineering gets really cool. Tire manufacturers have spent decades and billions of dollars figuring out how to minimize this effect. They've developed what are called low rolling resistance, or LRR, tires. These aren't some kind of gimmick. They are the result of incredible advancements in material science and tread design. They use specialized rubber compounds, often infused with silica, that are designed to be more flexible and generate less internal friction. This means they don't get as hot, and they require less energy to roll. The difference can be substantial. According to the Department of Energy, rolling resistance can account for anywhere from 4 to 11% of the fuel consumed by a passenger car. That's a huge slice of the pie. By switching from a set of standard inefficient tires to a modern set of LRR tires, you could potentially improve your fuel economy by a few percentage points. That might not sound like a lot, but if you do the math over the 50,000-mile lifespan of a set of tires, the savings can easily add up to hundreds of dollars, often enough to offset any extra cost of the tires themselves. You're essentially buying a permanent MPG boost. So you're sold on the science, but how do you actually find these magical LRR tires? The good news is they're becoming more and more common. In fact, many new vehicles, especially hybrids and EVs, come equipped with them straight from the factory because automakers need them to meet increasingly strict government fuel economy standards. When you're shopping for new tires, you'll often see them marketed with terms like eco, fuel efficient, or fuel saver in their names. But don't just rely on the marketing. Do your homework and look at the specs. The key is to look for tires specifically designated as low rolling resistance. Many tire retailers and manufacturer websites will allow you to filter your search results for this feature. It's also worth checking out the tire's Uniform Tire Quality Grading, or UTQG, ratings, though these focus more on treadwear, traction, and temperature resistance, and won't explicitly state the rolling resistance. Your best bet is to talk to a trusted tire professional. They can look at your specific vehicle, your driving habits, and help you find a tire that balances fuel economy with the safety, performance, and longevity you need. Now, there's always a trade-off, right? That's a fundamental rule of engineering. In the past, early LRR tires sometimes sacrificed a bit of wet weather grip or tread life to achieve their fuel-saving goals. However, tire technology has come a ridiculously long way. Modern LRR tires from reputable brands have largely closed that gap. Advanced tread patterns and silica-enhanced compounds mean you can now get excellent fuel economy without making a significant compromise on all-season safety or performance. You really can have your cake and eat it too, so to speak. Making the switch to LRR tires is one of the most passive and effective hacks on our list. Once they're installed, you don't have to think about it anymore. They just sit there, quietly saving you money on every single rotation. When it's time to replace your current set, don't just default to the cheapest option or the same model you had before. Take a moment to consider an upgrade to a quality LRR tire. It's a simple choice that pays you back every time you drive past a gas station instead of pulling into one. It's a true set-it-and-forget-it solution for better MPG. And there you have it, 11 simple, powerful hacks to put more miles between your fill-ups. We've covered everything from the way you press the pedal to the air in your tires and the oil in your engine. The best part? All of these hacks are backed by solid science. They are trusted by professional mechanics and fleet managers every single day, and not a single one of them is going to void your car's warranty. These aren't wild myths or questionable modifications. They're just smart, proven strategies for getting the most out of every single precious drop of fuel you put in your tank. Whether you're a parent ferrying your family around town in the minivan, a commuter trying to minimize the cost of your daily drive, or a business owner managing a full fleet of vehicles, these principles apply across the board. The beauty of it is in the aggregation of small changes. On its own, one hack might save you a little. But when you start combining them, driving smoothly, maintaining your vehicle, and making smart choices about your equipment, the savings really do add up. We're not talking about pennies here. Some drivers save hundreds, even thousands of dollars a year just by following these easy steps. Now, I want to hear from you. What are your go-to gas-saving techniques? Have you tried any of these and seen a real difference? Share your own experiences in the comments below, or if you have a question, ask away. Let's build a community of smart drivers. If you got value from this video and learned something new, do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe for more expert automotive advice, and share this video with a friend who hates the sight of another gas receipt as much as you do. We all know one. And remember, while these tips are powerful, sometimes you need a professional hand. For reliable, same-day solutions from licensed, trusted local experts, we've got you covered. Find a pro near you using the link in the description. By taking these small steps, you'll keep more miles on your odometer, more money in your pocket, and gain a whole lot more peace of mind on the road ahead. Thanks for watching, and drive smart. Carhelpout.com is the best way to get a mobile mechanic auto car repair service shop on wheels to come to you. Whether you're stuck at home or on the side of the road, our mobile mechanics are ready to assist you. We bring the repair shop to your location to save you time and hassle. We also provide emergency vehicle roadside assistance, such as car battery jump start, flat tire road service, running out of gas service if your vehicle stops or has a problem on the side of the road or any business parking lot. We understand that car troubles can be stressful, so we aim to provide quick and efficient solutions to get you back on the road as soon as possible. Additionally, we offer pre-purchase used car buying inspection checkup services review. Whether you're buying from local dealership or private car owner seller, either from Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, automotive auction, or anywhere else, we can help you with PPI inspection. We can come to you at any location, whether it's your home driveway, your office parking lot, or even if you're stranded on the roadside.
Carhelpout.com. It's the convenience.